Welcome to Get Wed,
a podcast to plan your wedding by.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Kerrie.
And we're both here as professional photographers
and brides-to-be to help you plan your big day.
Each week we'll discuss a topic that you'll encounter along your wedding planning journey.
And with the help of fellow industry experts, we'll navigate this crazy wedding world
together.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Get Wed podcast. This episode is for you if you found that throughout the course of planning your wedding, your friendships have suffered, felt a strain, or even ended. Perhaps like me, you've got groups of friends, but not one friend in particular, so it's hard for you to choose your bridesmaids. Or maybe you're not feeling very supported by those around you since you became engaged. Truth is, throughout our adult lives, our friendships can change, end, and even begin with new people, but wedding planning can certainly add to the stress of it all. I'm joined this week by Gemma, the friendship coach, who runs a blog called howtomakefriends.co.uk, and this week she's going to chat to us about how to deal with difficult situations that may arise in your friendships, how to make friends in your adult life, and she's also going to tell us about how she felt when her best friend didn't ask her to be a bridesmaid. So welcome to Get Wed, Gemma.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. I've been looking forward to this conversation, so here we go.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Could you let our listeners know a little bit more about you and your blog?
Yeah, so as you said, my name's Gemma. I kind of brand myself as the friend coach, but I write the blog howtomakefriends.co.uk. And it basically empowers women to make rewarding and real friendships. So that can kind of include anything from making new friends, realising who are fake friends and getting rid of them, how to be a great friend yourself. And yeah, I kind of took on my own friend project this year, so I document all of that over there as well. But as I've kind of been more open and honest about kind of finding new friends and maybe my struggles with friendships in the past, you realise that actually you're not alone, and there's so many other people out there like me that wanted to make new friends. Yeah. So as I found more and more people in the same position, actually helping other people kind of took over my own project, which has been great. It's been like a really good journey. So yeah, it's kind of a bit about the blog, really.
I found it really interesting when you first told me about it. I was like, oh my God, I feel like that too. How do you make friends when you're an adult? And just having that conversation, you're like, well, everyone feels like that, but no one talks about it, do they? It's really odd.
That's the thing. And it is just being the voice for everyone, because so many people feel that way. And there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to friendships, but people are ashamed to say maybe if they've gone in a different direction to their friends from, say, school. Yeah. People are, a bit afraid to be like, actually, I kind of need some new friends, or I want to meet new people, but I don't know where to start. So, yeah, it's just being the voice for many that, maybe people don't like to admit it.
Definitely. So, like, female friendship's always quite a complicated thing anyway. And I like the way you're broaching the subject of trying to make new friends on the blog, and maybe not replacing your old friends, but realising that you're perhaps not on the same level as your kind of friends that you've had since school anymore. How did it all come about? Like, where did it start from?
Yeah, so friendships have always been something I've not struggled with, but say, for example, from school, I called myself, like, on the blog, a floater. Like,
I'm one of those.
Yes. And actually more and more, like, people I speak to and talk about, people are the same as well, where you didn't just have one best friend or one close-knit friendship group. Yeah. And you were kind of an all-rounder. Like, I got on with everyone from all the different kind of cliche types of people you get in school. And by just being friends with everyone, it actually kind of leaves you feeling a bit more lonely than, say, just having one really, really good friend. And I think from kind of that experience from school, when I left school, I didn't really have like that many close people that I wanted to stay friends with. So I speak to like a few people from school, but for me it really started then from like work and kind of your adult life. And I think especially in your 20s, you're on such a learning curve of finding out who you are and what things you like and what you like to do, etc., that actually that's the best place to start with finding new friends. So with work, like, a lot of people make really good friendships through work, and I have, but I've never worked in big places full of people, or you probably find this like being self-employed. You don't meet, new friends through work. And so I needed more than that. Like, I needed to go out and find myself some new friends. So I'm quite like an outgoing person. I could be a little bit introvert as well. So, it wasn't so much like social anxiety or like awkwardness or anything like that. It was just literally, I never really found myself in a place to make new friends. So going into 2017, I wanted to change that. So I was like, this is the year. I'm going to have an absolute like friend detox. I'm going to overhaul my friendships. Meet new people. So that's kind of where the blog started. And so I kind of looked at whether there's a perfect friend formula, whether actually you should start with yourself. So I did different things, like I went out for like a day out by myself and all sorts of things that are really uncomfortable, but actually we should do. And I joined like friend apps and just lots of different ways of making new friends, basically. And I kind of, the more and more I met new people, and I was really enjoying doing that, and I had more kind of open and honest conversations because of it. And as soon as you get searching online, actually how to make friends on Google is just such a ridiculously searched term.
Oh, really?
And it's like such a need for it. People are actually searching this. And just the thought of people being so like lonely to be, sitting at home searching this. And there's a massive spike at like the early hours of the morning. So between like 2-3 a.m. is when people are searching like how to make friends. And
it's really sad.
It is really, really sad. And it just broke my heart a bit. And I thought, actually, I'm going to be the person to speak about it.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of what I've done. I just realised there's nothing really kind of similar to the blog online, so just went for it, and just wanted to change kind of just the things that no one talks about, really.
It's funny because I'm sure everybody, and probably lots of people who are listening, are in the same situation as me and you, in that this feels like a therapy session all of a sudden, but like I was very similar to what you were describing about your friends growing up in school. So I had a different best friend like every year throughout school. It wasn't that I fell out with those kind of old best friends. It's just that I just kind of moved on to new people. And I did it all the way through school. I'm still friends with a group of friends from school, but I wouldn't say I'm closer to one of them more than the other. We see each other as a collective group. And I've always been in that situation where I've had groups of friends, but not one individual person. So for me, that made picking bridesmaids really, really tricky. And I did mention this on our episode that we did about how to choose your bridesmaids and groomsmen, so I'll put the link in the show notes so everyone can go back and listen. But I think it's really easy when you've got loads of friends or one particular close friend, or you've got sisters, to find your bridesmaids. But if you're in a situation like you and I, who perhaps doesn't have that close friendship, what would you advise people do in that situation? So do you mean in terms of picking bridesmaids? Or having them at all, like maybe you just don't have them.
That's completely an option, and some people don't, do they? I've come across weddings where people just said, I'd like, my friends have moved away, or I went to uni miles away, all that kind of stuff, and just to make life easier, they've just not had them at all, which completely viable option. But I think you just have to, in terms of friendships, you have to go by how people make you feel. So you might have people that really brighten your day, and when you see them, you love hanging out, but you just don't see them a lot. And these people completely qualify to be bridesmaids. There is no right or wrong answer. And I think when it comes to bridesmaids, people think, they need to be your best friends, the people you see every single day. Whereas actually, some of my closest friends I see maybe once a year. But we'll keep, contact by text or online and stuff like that. So I think you just have to do what's right for you, and the people that, hold a special place in your heart and you get on with, and just pick the people that make you feel good and that are going to make you feel good on the day, because that's the main thing.
Those people are going to be a support to you and not bring you down is what you need around you on your wedding day, for sure.
Definitely, How did you go about picking yours?
So in the end, I chose my sister-in-law because I don't have sisters, but my brother's married and we're quite close. So she was always a definite. I definitely would have had her. But in terms of my other bridesmaid, I picked my friend Kerrie, and I found it really difficult because she's from a group of friends I met from doing my first job as a waitress. But we weren't. I wouldn't say she was my best friend. We're close, and we've got closer since she became my bridesmaid and everything. But we were kind of like the outsiders of a group, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we kind of got to know each other a bit better from doing, we both started our businesses up at the same time. So we did the Prince's Trust Enterprise course together. And through that, we kind of met up a lot to talk about business related stuff and going self-employed. And that brought us closer together. So it really, I knew I wanted 2 bridesmaids. And when I was trying to think of who to pick out of my 2 groups of friends, she was the one that I was like, actually, I can see this working really well with her. She's supportive of it. She's excited about the fact I got engaged. And I was just like, I'm going to just ask her. But it felt odd because, you know, we're good friends, but we weren't kind of close where we're in each other's pockets. And do you know what I mean? So, and then you always feel like that should be a best friend position. But when you don't have a best friend, it's like, well, what do you do?
Exactly. But it still works. Like you said, like she was excited for you and you thought actually she'll be a great part to play in the day, you know? Yeah.
And we did, like, it was really nice having her around because we've got a lot in common in terms of other things. So like we really like kind of making and crafting stuff. And so she helped me make my big macrame backdrop thing for the wedding. And she was helping me work out the mathematics behind table runner lengths and all this kind of crazy stuff.
That is a friend you need.
Exactly. It was the perfect choice.
Yeah. But that's what it's about. You need, you know, especially when it comes to picking bridesmaids, you need people that are going to enhance your day and not do anything kind of detrimental to your day.
No, I've been in so many situations at weddings where there's been bridesmaids who have been so stressed in the mornings, or so self-obsessed, the wrong word, but do you know what I mean? Something's gone wrong with their hair, or they've smudged their nails or something like that, and then it brings the whole room down, or it kind of stresses the bride out more. And it's like, you have to just remember that you need to find people who are going to support you and not really be too concerned about themselves on the day.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think actually that can be quite hard. Say your best friend is kind of, say, a stressy person, or maybe a little negative, or, you know, actually, how do you even go about not asking?
That's true. That's very true. So do you think that weddings and you getting engaged, or like your friends getting engaged, can put a strain on the friendships?
100%. And I say that because I think it applies in so many different ways. So for example, the thing with big life events is that it's great for the person that's involved, but it also has like a knock-on effect to so many other people too. So for example, I'm 27, haven't found my Mr. Right. So I've gone through, as you can imagine, lots of friends getting engaged, married, babies, all of that stuff, which, you know, is absolutely great. But no one ever talks about the person that's kind of left behind. Yeah. And being that person, like, you know, I absolutely want all of those things for myself. It just hasn't been my time yet. But people don't really know how to act around you or almost deal with that kind of side of things. Yeah. So that's something I talk about on the blog in terms of how to react being that person. So, I mean, I'm so many like engagement stories and baby stories in now that it's just like a natural reaction for me to be absolutely fine. But when those the first friends of your friendship group, or just people, you know, start going through those life changes, you suddenly selfishly think, oh my God, what about me? Yeah. Like, you know, or if you've been with your partner, say 6 years, and someone's engaged and they've only been together 2, you're thinking, oh my gosh, like, what about me? We're not engaged. You know, there's all those feelings that come with it. And I think that can be a strain in itself. And, you know, it's one of those things where you are happy for the person. Obviously, you're more than happy for your friends and excited that they're going through all these life changes. But it just gives that element of kind of stress or just feeling a bit left out.
Yeah.
So I think that can bring a strain, and especially because I've had friends like apologise to me for their good news.
Really?
Oh, I mean, there's nothing worse. And it is because people do feel sorry for you, but you don't need people's sympathy.
No.
You know, it will happen when it happens, but people just don't know how to act.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, people have been like, oh, you know, this is happening, but you know, I'm really sorry because this isn't happening in your life.
Yeah, that's so true.
So
I had a situation, I won't name names with my friends, but I had a situation where when I got engaged, it was over Christmas, at the same time one of my friends had broken up with her boyfriend.
yeah.
And I think she messaged us to tell us that they'd split up or something. And it was the same day that I was going to announce to my friends, oh, by the way, I got engaged. And so I was like, oh my God, I can't now put this news out there. It's like I'm rubbing her face in the fact that, oh, I found the one, but sorry about you. Do you know what I mean? So it was really awkward. So I actually texted her and was like, I'm so sorry to hear about you, and shall remain nameless. But I just wanted to let you know that I got engaged today, and I don't want to, you know, upset you by announcing it to everyone. So I just wanted to let you know first. And she was absolutely fine with it. But I just remember thinking, oh my God, what an awful way for me to announce my engagement.
Yeah. But that's so thoughtful of you to even kind of consider that, you know?
Yeah.
And you addressed her feelings first. Mm-hmm. You said, you know, I'm really sorry to hear about that. And, you know, you could have easily just gone straight through like, oh, I'm engaged.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what's happening in your life. And it's just being sensitive as well, because it isn't a race. But I think just the way society is now, it feels like that. It
becomes like a big comparison, doesn't it? As soon as someone's reaching that kind of life stage goal and you're not there, it's like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why isn't it happening to me? Exactly. And even if you're not necessarily that kind of person, because I remember when one of my first one of my friends who announced she was having a baby, a bit of me was like, oh my God. And I was like, why aren't we doing that? Not that I was even ready for a baby or anything at the time, but it's just suddenly like, oh, I need to be moving on in my life and sorting it out. And it's scary.
And that is completely what it is. And that it's just that element of, oh my God, what about me?
Yeah.
And that's the bit I addressed like in the blog, just to be like, it's fine to feel that way. But you just move past it and, you know, everything's fine the other side. So yeah, I definitely think there's that element of strain in that situation where you are, you know, like you say, you said where you were engaged, but maybe your friend isn't quite there or has some other news and you feel a bit, you know, can I announce this?
Yeah.
And from kind of my point of view, where everyone's like, you know, time's ticking, which isn't helpful either. And then obviously it's the whole kind of wedding setup itself. So I feel like with engagements and weddings, there's a lot of almost rating friends. So there's so many decisions to be made, and you probably have so much input from everyone and anyone. You know, just friends, family, telling you what you should have, what you shouldn't have, and this will be nice and this won't be nice, and they don't just kind of leave you as a couple to get on with it.
No.
And I think some of that can turn into an element of competition.
Yeah.
So, for example, who you invite, you know, just like as simple as who's coming to the day, who's coming to the evening. And then you've got that whole who can bring a partner thing.
Yes.
And it's like, well, she's a close friend and, you know, I know her partner, but she's a close friend, but she's only just got with him. So we don't really want him there.
Yeah.
And just even the invitations, I think, is a strain.
It is.
There's just so much that goes into it. And then you've got all the bits like who's sitting where. People even see your table plan as a competition, you know, who's at the better table.
Who's the one at the back door, and then you're like, oh, they don't like us very much.
Exactly, yeah, we're the riff-raff at the back. And then it's the whole who's going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, whether that's as bridesmaid or whether you're going to do something special at the wedding, where to go for the hen do. I'm sure people have a lot of opinions on that as well. And then you've chosen your bridesmaids and they've all got their opinions about the dresses. And then, as we already mentioned, how everyone's going to behave on the day as well. Whether people are going to make it more about them than you. So yeah, I just think there's so many elements that go into the wedding day that can just have such a strain on friendships.
Yeah, and we've heard of so many situations where brides have fallen out with bridesmaids and then unbridesmaided them.
Yes.
So they've kind of fired them from the wedding because they're just like, I just can't deal with your behaviour.
Exactly.
And that's a really sad situation to find yourself in, where you're really close to someone and then suddenly it's like, actually, I don't want you there at all. I mean, what an awful situation to be in that it's got that bad. But I've heard it all before and it's mad. The way you and the way other people change when you're getting married as well can have a negative and positive effects. So someone might be really, really supportive of your wedding. Other people might, turn the other way and not be interested at all and show you absolutely no support or want to be there and help. So it's kind of like a true test, I guess, of like your friendships. It's like who's going to step up and who doesn't.
Exactly. And sometimes it's just a reflection of those people as well. If someone is feeling the strain that they're not engaged, they're not going to be particularly happy for you. But, that kind of says more about them as a friend, unfortunately, than, the situation itself.
So whilst we're talking about bridesmaids, I know that you've got a story about how you felt when you weren't asked to be a bridesmaid by one of your friends. Would you mind sharing that?
Yeah. So pretty much all of my, I'd consider closest friends up until this point in my life are now married, and I've never ever been asked to be a bridesmaid.
Me either. High five.
Yes. So it feels like the whole school experience again, where you're always the friend but not the best friend. But in this case, you're the guest and you're never the bridesmaid. And do you know what? It's actually completely fine that I've never been asked. So that's why I'm happy to talk about this. I'm not worried about my friends seeing this and thinking, oh, well, she never said anything to me. Or, because I'm actually going to bring this full circle to why it's a good thing. So firstly, I understand getting married itself is a stressful thing anyway. And people have such priorities. So, sisters are an obvious one. If you've got a bunch of sisters, usually they're the bridesmaids. So I've had friends that have just had the sisters. Absolutely fine.
That would be the best way to be. I wish I just had like a load of sisters.
Yeah, exactly. Just no decision even needed. Just you'll do. Budgets. So some people don't have any bridesmaids. Some people have like one or two, and they happen to be maybe the new husband's sisters or whoever. Kind of ask people for family reasons. That's fine. Some even ask in return, which I find is an interesting one.
I've heard this quite a lot, is that they've just done it because they were asked to be that person's bridesmaid, and so it's like I kind of feel I have to ask back.
Exactly. So this doesn't work in my favour because I'm not married. So I'm thinking, damn it, I could have got a bridesmaid status from that.
That's why. That's why those people get married so young.
Exactly. They get first in there and they think, right, I'll have these as my bridesmaids, then I can do it in return.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever reason people pick their bridesmaids for is absolutely fine. And the whole thing of being a great friend is just not let your friendship. So I would never, ever even pull any of my friends up on this.
Yeah.
No matter how I was feeling, just leave it. And I think that's important. I'm all for, in certain situations, you have to tell people how you're feeling.
Yeah.
But when it comes to weddings, because of the stress levels already, because of everything that poor bride-to-be is under, they don't need you say, well, hang on a minute, you haven't picked me.
Yeah.
And the only reason you're feeling like that is completely selfishly. And it's fine to admit that. It's fine to be like, I feel left out. Like, I'm not happy about this.
Yeah.
But you find your ways and means of moving on. So I wrote a blog post on this, and I did like the 10 steps of kind of the realizations of not being asked. So I'll quickly run through them. So this is completely from my experiences, okay? So number 1 is she said yes. So if you're lucky enough, you've had a text prior to the Facebook status, because I think that's always nice.
Yeah, you're like VIP friend.
Exactly. Then it makes you feel good. You're like, yeah, they've let me know first. But yeah, then it's all over Facebook and everyone's, you know, liking it and sharing it and tagging each other and whatever. So that's all good. So you're feeling pretty good. Then it's the, oh my God, I'm never going to get married moment.
Yeah.
So if you're already there, you're probably thinking, oh, okay, you know, that's fine. Congratulations. But I think if you haven't, or you're not married yet, I think everyone has it where it's like, oh, it's never going to be me.
Yeah.
It's never going to be me. Oh my God. And it's just the real talk. No one ever says it, but everyone thinks it.
But also, I think if you were married and you're on the step 2, sorry to interrupt you, that's where sometimes it can turn into, oh, you shouldn't do it like this, you should do it like that, because I've been there and this happened, and oh, I'm so experienced.
Yes,
so that's
very good point.
Yeah.
Then suddenly everyone's an expert. Yeah, love that. So number 3 is you pull yourself together and express delight. and deep down you are so happy for your friend, but you just do have that initial sense of like you say, like, oh, I can show her this good website, or you know, she should do this, or oh my God, I'm never going to get married, I can't cope, but it's all going to be fine. So next step is, ooh, I think I'm in the running to be a bridesmaid. And the thought is so exciting, because you think to yourself, right, you know, if I'm a bridesmaid, I'm going to absolutely smash this. Like, she is getting the most thoughtful gifts. She's going to get the most incredible hen do. I'm going to show her just how much, like, I care for her. And again, selfishly, I'm going to show her what an incredible friend I am. So goes to the next step. You're listening to the ideas, the plans, etc. And kind of in the back of your mind, you're thinking, when's she going to ask? And I think as time goes on and more gets booked, you get to that point where you're thinking, I don't think she's going to ask unless this is going to be a late invitation. I'm not sure what's happening.
Yeah.
And then the realization hits. And more often than not, in my experience, I've found it's the like the notification on Facebook to the hen do.
Right.
And you're just like,
you're not the one organising it.
I'm not organising it. So I'm like, straight on, right, who's the bridesmaid? And again, you do have that the whole like, oh, why are they a bridesmaid and not me? I deserve to be a bridesmaid over her and whatever. So it is kind of hurtful, and you maybe feel like all sorts of emotions, and it is just that left out kind of loneliness vibe. Yeah. And yeah, you just think, I think, and it brings it back to the whole competition and the strain on friendships thing, because you're thinking, what makes them a better bridesmaid than me? And what makes them, and if you're a bridesmaid, it suddenly makes you a better friend than anyone else.
Yeah.
Whereas actually you could be chosen for all sorts of different reasons. You know, it's kind of got nothing to do with length of friendship or kind of quality of friendship necessarily. It might just be that they've had her as a bridesmaid, so she's asking them back. You know, it can be as simple as that. So my thing is just plaster a smile on your face, move on, dust yourself off, go to the hen do, have a good time, be there for your friend. Hope none of the bridesmaids trip down the aisle. But you know what? When the day comes around, you're in a dress you feel comfortable in. You've picked your whole outfit. You can make the most of all the food, all the drink. You haven't got any responsibilities. And you could dance the night away. And you just don't even care by that point. And you just realise you're kind of friends before the day, you're still going to be friends after the day, and it is just one day.
It is, yeah.
And yeah, so hopefully that helps people with that situation. In terms of the panic's fine. We're all there, we're all feeling it. But if you're not a bridesmaid, it's absolutely not the end of the world, and nothing to fall out with a friend over.
Yeah. I mean, I know friends in the past who don't even speak to some of the bridesmaids. So, you know, it might not even be a good indication that they are a good friend. It might actually split them apart. So you have to choose wisely, make sure they're going to stand the test of time.
That's the thing. And you just don't know how people are going to react in that situation either. You just, or like you say, on the day, you can have worse bridesmaids stressing about how they look, the shoes, their dresses, that the bride doesn't even get a look in. And that's just not what you need on a morning of getting ready for a wedding.
No. Do you think men have the same problems as women?
I feel like they don't.
No, I don't either.
Men are so black and white.
Yeah.
And I mean, I only kind of do the women's side of friendship, really, but from kind of the men's side, I think the only thing they struggle with is the whole alpha thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, who's more manly? But in that, it is just, they have very different friendships to women. They spend their lives just joking.
Yeah, I've noticed with Russell's friends, they're not even particularly nice to each other. Like, they just always, like, it's always the banter and making fun of each other. And I think, why have you even got friends sometimes?
Yeah, it is completely different to women. But in doing that, it's hard because I think they are more kind of honest and straight up with each other, and things are more black and white with them. But equally so, they have that thing where they just don't talk about their feelings.
Yeah.
So it probably makes it just easier.
It does, probably.
They just have their close friends, and then they're just like, yeah, you'll do. And I think if you weren't part of the groomsmen, you probably wouldn't care.
No. And actually, you find nowadays that actually maybe men are a bit more like women in the fact that they're struggling to pick a best man. Because, you know, I see so many men nowadays who have like 2 or 3 best men. It's like they can't quite decide who gets the role, and they don't want to offend anybody. So perhaps there is a little bit of the similar thing that females have. But yeah,
definitely. And I think it does come down to that. It's that whole like how not to offend people on your wedding day.
I spent the whole of the planning of my wedding just trying not to offend everybody who I'd invited.
Yeah, and it's just impossible.
Yeah. When you're like, I'm like a serial people pleaser. That's how I like to describe myself. So when you're kind of that sort of people pleaser personality, it's so difficult to make sure you're accommodating to everybody. Yeah. Even just like where you're saying earlier, like where you seat people in the marquee. I purposely tried to have like long tables in like a arch shape, so everyone was close to the front. But some people were at the end of the long table, so it's like, well, how do I make everyone close to me? It's impossible.
And that's so true. And it is just those elements of kind of what makes a friend a better friend than another friend.
Yeah. And that's like the competition thing you were talking about earlier, though. It's like all of a sudden it's a competition to be the better friend than someone else. And why can't we all just be friends?
Just be friends, yeah.
And not be better than each other.
I see it at weddings, like especially as guests. You see people just, even to little things, like trying to outdo each other on gifts. Like, oh, I got a bigger, better gift than you, so I'm a better friend. Or it's just, there are just so many elements to a wedding, and I think especially as the couple picking people to be part of the wedding, you've just got to do what's right for you. Like you can't please everyone. No. And as long as you're happy, it's your day. And I think the people that you don't pick as kind of groomsmen, bridesmaids, whatever, or to be a part of the wedding, they will just get over it. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to say in all of this. Yeah, I am a bit selfish and I would like to be a bridesmaid one day. But, you know, the fact of the matter is it is your day, and it's your life-changing day, and it's no one else's, and to everyone else it is just one day. So yeah, you just have to do what's right for you.
Definitely. So let's have you got any advice for brides? So if they're in a situation, for example, where they're kind of got those friends that they feel they have to ask, but they don't necessarily want to. How would you suggest they tactfully get around that situation?
Yeah. So I think pick who you want to pick. I think the hardest thing for me was when I thought I'd be asked, but the bride didn't address that I wasn't asked.
Okay.
So I think there'll always be a situation where someone maybe thought they were going to be asked, but actually you'd never considered them.
Yeah.
So you can't really do anything about that. But I think as the bride-to-be, pick who you want. So for example, if you've got a big group of friends, but you're just going to pick 2 of them,
mm-hmm.
pick those 2, but also maybe tell the others.
Yeah. And
it doesn't have to be a big kind of song and dance announcement, just in passing, in conversation. Yeah. Say you're at lunch with your friends and you just say, oh, I've picked my bridesmaid, so-and-so and so-and-so. Just in passing, in mm-hmm. conversation, then everyone knows where they stand.
Yeah, and it's casual as well. It's not like you've gone, oh, I picked them because.
Exactly. And you don't even need to explain yourself. Sometimes it's just the not knowing.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, is she going to pick me? Is she not? How can I hint? And, when's she going to ask? Whereas actually, if it's just like, oh, I've picked my bridesmaids, there's, it's these.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's good to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I think people do know roughly who would be in the running almost. Mm-hmm. And I think those people that were in the running that didn't get the bridesmaid kind of title, just address it. Just nice and cash. Just chat about it, who you picked, and just your plans for the day. And they're going to be absolutely fine with it.
Lovely. And do you have any other advice, friendship-wise, for dealing with the stress of weddings? Like anything else that's coming to mind?
I think just kind of what I've said already, just do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what? If your friends do kind of get upset about things, just let it go.
Yeah.
And it's inevitable. If someone's going to fall out with you about your wedding, they're not a true friend.
Very true.
And sometimes it does take these big life events or something out of the ordinary to kind of bring that to the surface. Mm-hmm. And there's just nothing you can do about it. You've got to be true to you. You've got to plan your wedding for everything you want it to be. And if it does upset people and they're not willing to accept it, then just move on.
Tough luck.
Exactly. And like you say, there's plenty of people. You won't be the first or the last to fall out with people over a wedding.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But actually, you don't need them in your life.
Very true. So going back to your blog, so what I found, although this isn't going to be wedding related as such, but I just find it really, really interesting, is can you tell us a bit more about your friendship project?
Yeah. So I decided to kind of go at it a few different ways. So my first thing was there's got to be a formula for perfect friends. Mm-hmm. So I went for there's got to be 5 perfect friends. So I titled them all out and thought, yep, I'm going to find these 5 people and then fill each role as such. Mm-hmm. But as time went on and on, I realised that actually there isn't 5 perfect friends for everyone. And instead, you should pick friendships for your lifestyle.
Okay.
So a good example of this was my first initial kind of perfect friend I wanted was like an everyday friend. Mm-hmm. So someone that could pop over and come for a cup of tea, or I could go to their house, someone you don't mind if you got a few dishes on the side.
Yeah.
All of that kind of stuff.
Someone who lived fairly locally to you.
Exactly. Yeah. Over the road, they pop round, and all of that. But as I started to think about this person, it stressed me out. I thought, oh my God, I just couldn't do it. And I thought, actually, that doesn't suit everyone.
Yeah.
And I think I try to cram so much into my day. So the thought of someone popping round unexpectedly would just freak me out. I just thought, no, I can't have this person in my life. And
that's before you even made that friend. That's hilarious.
It was. And that's the thing. It's kind of looking at your situation now, looking at your friendships now and who you want in your life, mm-hmm. and then actively going to find those people, because that way you're not blind. Like you're not going out just picking anyone. You're thinking, oh, I really want a friend to do this with, or to do that with, or this type of person. So my main thing to begin with was kind of a like self-love project. So I think until you know who you are and until you can identify who you need in your life, you've got to concentrate on yourself first.
Yeah.
So I think I told you before I was going on my day out by myself.
Which is a really brave thing to do. People don't really do things on their own anymore. I know I don't.
No. And it's actually terrifying.
Like things I can go to the cinema on my own or for dinner by myself. There's no way I'd do that by myself.
But I think it's those little challenges that actually we should challenge ourselves to do. So I did something really casual. I just went for like a day out. I quite like horses and into horsey stuff. So just went for kind of a day out to a horse show. So it wasn't anything pressured and there was lots of people there and I could go and blend in. But I did feel so aware of myself all day. And you just feel a bit awkward. But actually, until you can enjoy your own company, why would someone else enjoy your company?
That's very true.
And I think you have to get to that point where you're someone who someone will want to hang out with, basically. And I think people can get into a bit of a loop, especially if you are feeling a bit rubbish about your friends and, you know, you're maybe not doing the things you want to do. You can get into a bit of a negative sort of cycle. And no one's going to want to hang out with you. You've got to find out who you are and, you know, things you enjoy. And then that's kind of where you'll find friends from there. So, yeah, I've done various different bits and pieces. Joined a friend app, which was actually really good. And I definitely recommend as just a, you know, totally a 2017 way of doing
yeah, it's like so modern.
And it is literally just like a dating app. You're like, yeah, you look good, or no, I don't
really
think this suit me, yeah. And it's just a good way of kind of filtering through people. But I met a really good friend through a friend app who I see now, so that's been great. And yeah, I'm just trying to help other people, basically. I'm just being that voice, you know, for the floaters of us.
And then lastly, do you have any advice for people who might find themselves in a situation where they kind of want to cut off ties with a friend? So they've got to a point in their life where they're like, do you know what? I don't really like being around you anymore. But they're holding on to it for old time's sake as such. I'm sure there's probably lots of people who have that situation, especially coming into their wedding.
Yes.
Do you have advice for that?
Yeah, so I think there's a few different ways of looking at this. I think if it's someone you completely want to cut from your life, just get rid. Just cut all ties. And I think it's as simple as that. And it's one of those things where I think people think they need to make a big deal of it, but you don't. Just cut the contact, you know, just talk to them less frequently and it will fizzle out kind of naturally by itself. And then especially for people like me, like I do not do conflict well at all. And I think that's when you find yourself in that position where you've got people that don't necessarily reward you as a friend, but like you say, you kind of cling on to them because you don't really know what to do. So I feel like you can just let friendships fizzle out naturally. And, you know, you could do it in a friendly kind of way. And I've got people in my life who I wouldn't call in an emergency and I wouldn't hang out with often. But people I like to stay in contact with, and it is for that old time's sake, where, you know, I'll ask how they're and have kind of quick chats with them. But that's where you can leave it, and it's okay to have those people in your life as well. So it's just kind of treating your friendships in like layers almost. So having your close friends, but keeping kind of acquaintances, if you like, you know, for a better term. But I think, if you want to cut people, you don't need to have a big falling out. And I think that's where people kind of get stuck because they feel like they have to be like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Goodbye forever. And you don't. You just need to just let it fizzle out. It will run its course. And as you fill your life with kind of better friends or more quality friends and people you enjoy hanging out with, that'll naturally happen anyway.
Yeah. I think we just need to accept the fact that modern day friendships are floater friendships.
Definitely.
And then you just kind of have different friends for different stages in your life. So you'll get to a point where you've kind of got your kind of mummy friends if you're all having babies, you know, the NCT groups, all that sort of stuff. You make a whole new group of friends, don't you? So it's just accepting that you're not going to stay friends with the same people all the time. Or if you are, you're not going to be as close to them at some points in your life than you will at others.
Exactly. So. And I think that's kind of the whole point I've taken from my friend project, especially this year, is that friendships evolve.
Yeah.
And I think in school you're kind of taught, oh, you need your best friend, or there's just kind of element of you pick your best friend and that's it forever. You know, best friends forever. But it's
like
not.
In the movies.
Yeah, totally. But it's not, and that's natural, and that's absolutely fine. And like you say, when you're at similar stages in your life with other people, you'll naturally gravitate towards them over others, and you'll meet new people through the things you're doing, whether you take up a new hobby or whether, like you say, you have a baby or get married. You know, you constantly meet new people and people that suit your life at that time.
Definitely. Oh, well, thank you for all your advice today. It's been really insightful. It's nice to know there's other floaters out there.
Definitely. And I always love to hear from floaters as well. So, you know.
I don't know if a floater is a great term, because I was just thinking we should hashtag floater, but I can imagine it's quite
I don't think that's
not the best word.
No.
Oh dear. We have to come up with a new term, Gemma, and coin it.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll get thinking.
And before you go, just want to let our listeners know again how they can find out more about how to make friends. Not how to make friends literally, but your blog is what I meant.
Yeah. Well, they can learn how to make friends. That's true. So the web address is www.howtomakefriends.co.uk, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well as @thefriendcoach.
Lovely, perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been really lovely getting to know you, and I'll let you get going.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. We really hope that you've enjoyed this episode of Get Wed. Don't forget you can always subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, and while you're there, you may as well leave us a review. You can join us for more wedding chat in our Facebook group if you just can't wait until next week. You'll find all the links that you need via our website, including show notes for this episode, over at getwebpodcast.co.uk. We'll see you next time. Happy planning!